It's important to have coordinators to coordinate carers and service users, because you can get on with the actual job of organising things like car parking, booking of the relevant people, briefing the relevant people, getting the people in.
Access, access, access. There's a long distance to go from the car park to here in cold wind, and even just negotiating round the building itself is not easy at all.
The first few times that you're asked to come and talk to a big group, that can be quite daunting, but there are, ways around that. For instance, we normally have two of us doing a presentation, and that becomes very natural then, because one of you speaks, and whereas if you were on your own, you'd sort of dry up and think, well, I don't know what to say next. The other person will be listening to you, and into their mind will come related ideas. So they put their 2 pennies worth in, and then it bounces backwards and forwards.
Say Christine or someone like a tutor who will be with us, who will make it clear that if there's anything that we don't want to speak about, not to press it, and so on and so on. So we do get a lot of support.
It's very important to give a debrief at the end of sessions, because you don't know how deeply they've been affected by this session. It's bringing up things that perhaps they didn't realise were affecting them.
I certainly appreciate when I've been talking about suicide, which involves me talking about the loss of my father, for instance. I certainly appreciate having a cup of coffee for 10-15 minutes with somebody at the end, just to settle my feelings down and get myself together again. So it's being mindful of people's needs.
Very difficult at the beginning to introduce users and carers to interviews, because academics get together and like to talk in their own jargon and to feel that they have a rapport with each other. But it's better now, I think, because it's actually written into the course. I think they're not just brought in as a sort of token to talk to people or to be there or just to make up the number.
I think the challenges are really based on economics. I think there is very little money available for the development of service user and carer involvement. I think at the moment it's less than £8,000. I don't think that's good enough. I think A, it should be more money, and B, it should be defined over a longer period of time.
It's been a struggle to meet the challenge of payments. We had all sorts of problems about whether they needed to be taxed, whether they were self-employed, issues around. So now they sign their own forms saying that they are responsible for their own money. We can just pay them. So that makes so much more sense to them.
We submit a pay claim form and that gets actioned and we get the money through the post quite quickly.
In academia, we make an awful lot of use of things like email, and sometimes, a service user or carer might not have access to email. So we have to, we might use a phone or, but there's always ways around things, I think.
It's about building trust and a relationship with that individual or that group of individuals so that they're being used on an ongoing basis, rather than just because, we've got an event coming up, we need to involve a service user. So it's establishing that relationship.
Christine, who's the service user and carer coordinator, will always follow up and phone and see how they are, how they think it went, if they've got any other feedback. You can't rush it, you have to have time.
They know what the programme is, what's involved in the programme, when we'll ask them to come in, and they know what to expect once they do come in.
And they can obviously say that they don't want to be involved in that, or they don't want to be involved for as long as that, or with that many students. So kind of support people in a practical and an emotional sense, really, and making sure that people aren't put in situations that they're not comfortable with.